Hello and welcome to Creative Walks. Today I was reminded of this little clip. It was a short video showing how Rafael Nadal, who is one of the world's best tennis players probably of all time, and how he reacts when he wins and when he loses a point, on average, in general. The trick on the video was to try to see in which clip he had lost and in which clip he had won the point. With all these high-level players, be Federer or Djokovic, it's very common for them to react basically the same way no matter if they win or lose the point. They tend to save their celebrations for really important moments or at the end of the game. And I think that's why often they fall to the ground when they finally win that big tournament, because they can let all their emotions run free through their bodies. And that reminded me of something my tennis teacher said many years ago about Nadal, actually. I was really upset with the way that I was playing a couple of points and how my game basically collapsed every time that I would make a silly mistake and then they would compound. And my teacher reminded me that the cool thing about Nadal, and the way he said it was very cool, he said, oh, he forgives himself so quickly. And for some reason that got me thinking today about the idea of regret and learning the ability to truly forgive ourselves. And the funny thing is that regret doesn't seem to be related to the things that simply happen to us, that are out of our control. Regret usually is related to a dilemma, a choice, a direction that we are considering, and the path that we actually took and their consequences. Sometimes we wish we had started something earlier or made a better decision or been more brave, but sometimes regret comes from not making the right choice out of our own principles and morals. And maybe worse, sometimes it comes when we simply see the consequences of our actions. And I think regret can be a very dangerous emotion, especially when we dwell on the past too much and become paralyzed with guilt. People often self-destruct with the feeling of regret, with all those shoulds lurking in their memories. And it seems like we become our own judges and we sentence ourselves with the idea that we deserve this current fate. And the moment you think that because of what you did, you don't have the right to try something again. In that sense, I actually agree with William Shatner, the actor, who said once in an interview, and it stuck with me, that he said that regret is a useless emotion. It's a useless feeling. He argued that you can never really know how things would have turned out if you had chosen a different path, even a better one. There is randomness to fate. He mentioned that we fantasize how this amazing thing would have happened if we had only taken a different path. But it could very well be that if we had taken that different path, we might end up going through a corner and being hit by a bus or never meeting our significant other, and on and on and on. We can never know what could have happened that had nothing to do with our choice. And I think that's why in today's world, people keep talking a lot about forgiveness and acceptance and all those things. And I was always very skeptical about it. But I think that's where that idea comes of saying that regret is, quote, past tense decision making. That it's a narcissistic feeling because it is as if we don't take into account that we are flawed human beings and we will make mistakes. But I think instead of ignoring regret, we can find a way to make it into a positive force for better decisions if we consider our actions moving forward. One thing that religious people have, especially in Christianity, is the ritual of confession. I am not religious at all, and I think that the cool thing about confessions is not that you tell God or, God forbid, a priest about your sins or regrets, but it's because it's like you have a weekly, let's say, date, a check-in with your moral inner life, and you can review what you have done, what's bugging you. and most importantly, what you can do about it. So I thought how a secular person like myself can use the idea of confession about our regrets and create a positive change in our lives. So I was walking today and I thought of an interesting exercise. What do I regret at this particular moment? What have I regretted in the past, even if I'm over it now? And write it down. And the funny thing is that those ideas sometimes they're not in the forefront of our mind, and when we manifest this amorphous feelings into full-blown written idea, there is something very powerful that comes. At least it happened to me today. Comes this hope about the next time, that the next time you will make better decision, where you will be aware of the existence of a possible regret and hopefully will act accordingly. So I thought next time I will trust my moral compass more. Next time I will do things differently. And the very idea of saying next time is already a very positive one because it implies that there will be something else that you will actually act. And I was also thinking about this in an artistic sense, where just like you can use rage or lust or any sort of let's say, negative emotions to instill feelings that propel the creation of good art, you can also learn to turn our feelings of regret into beautiful and often cathartic works of art. Hopefully those artworks will teach us how to let our regret be a guide and not a harsh punisher. So maybe by making art, we can learn to forgive ourselves and try again. So I hope you find this idea interesting. I know it's somewhat of a down subject, but it was on my mind. I always try to put a positive spin on it. So onwards with better regrets and better use of our inner compass. So with that, I'll talk to you tomorrow.